Hi guys, welcome to the Wrestling Retrospective, and in today's video I'm doing my predictions for AEW All Out 2025. So starting off with some of the 0 hour or the Saturday Trailgate Brawl, or whatever they're calling it for this one. I don't really know why they're doing that. I assume it's a Canada thing. But I thought I'd cover a bit of this because there's more to talk about, I guess. But for me, I mean, I've only gone for the match yet. So to start with, we have a 8-woman brawl, kind of what I assume is like a Texas Tornado tag match, where you've got Willow Nightingale, Mina Shirakawa, Harley Cameron and Queen Aminata taking on 2/3 of the Triangle of Madness in Julia Hart and Sky Blue, as well as Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford. And yeah, there's so much I'm looking forward to. It's going to be really fun. I've actually been aware that we in the UK might not be able to watch this. I hope that isn't the case and we can watch it. I feel like this match is going to be very good. The women's multi-person matches have been really good recently. So I am curious to see what comes after this, just because, you know, I feel like all these women's feuds being put together will eventually lead to them being separated, but then what comes after that is what I'm curious about. Like, you know, who's going to benefit the most out of this is what I'm trying to say. As far as the prediction goes, I can actually see the heels getting the win here because I'm expecting a fair few babyface wins throughout the pay-per-view. So, yeah, it makes a lot of sense that the heels get the win here, which is Sky Blue, Julia Hart, Megan Bayne, and Penelope Ford. Following that, and also on the 0 hour, we have Shibata versus Garcia 3. And yeah, the reason I'm really putting this in is so I can talk about Daniel Garcia's heel turn, because I've not had a chance to do that on the channel yet. And yeah, for me, it's an interesting one, because part of me feels like it makes perfect sense for, firstly, you know, if you've cut a promo that says, everyone has beaten me, then clearly something has to change. And yeah, Daniel Garcia joining Death Riders makes absolutely perfect sense, but my head kind of goes into a situation where is Daniel Garcia being very smart here and decided to join the Death Riders to rip them apart from the inside. So then when we get this inevitable big, what I feel like will be a big blow-up match where it's like Garcia, Hook, Orange Cassidy, Darby Allin, all these other people taking on the Death Riders and kind of banishing them for good, and then they all end up doing their own thing afterwards. For me, does this start here with Daniel Garcia, who's essentially infiltrating the Death Riders and is going to took it upon himself to do this? At the same time, this might massively help Daniel Garcia in a similar way to I can see when I assume Chris Statlander joins the Death Riders. This will help her as well, and it will kind of help Yuta eventually, even though he's a punching bag in a minute. I feel like overall wise, this being part of the Death Riders is going to help all three of these people. And yeah, it kind of starts here and with the trainer of Daniel Garcia, which is Shibata. For me, Daniel Garcia has to win this match. He has to. He can't lose this one because it would kind of hurt his role right now within the company and within joining the Death Riders if he were to lose his first pay-per-view match, or even if it's on the pre-show, still a pay-per-view match. So moving on to the main card, and we're kind of going to go into the matches that I have zero care for, essentially. First one being Eddie Kingston versus Big Bill. And why are we getting this match? Well, I don't understand why this is a thing. Like, Big Bill is arguably, on this card, the lowest person down on the card, and he's getting a main point of the pay-per-view match and a big return as well. Very shocked they didn't have Eddie Kingston return at Forbidden Door in the steel cage match. That would have been a perfect place, even more perfect. Anarchy in the Arena would have been a absolutely ideal place to have Eddie Kingston come back. But maybe he wasn't available for those matches, he wasn't cleared yet, and that's fair enough. I totally get it if that's the case. Then you have him return in the coffin match, because you know that coffin match is going to get a ton of interference in it, and Eddie Kingston is going to have, you could even have him return in the tag team ladder match, because Eddie Kingston was feuding with the Young Bucks before he got injured, and he has issues with Gabe Kidd because Gabe Kidd injured him. So I've got that in quotes because it sounds like he intentionally tried to injure him, which isn't the case, but Gabe Kidd was the guy that put him out of for a while. So, you know, it made perfect sense to bring him in during the Death Riders angle. So for him to come back randomly against Big Bill for no reason at all, other than the fact that Big Bill hates people from New York, or he hates Eddie Kingston because he's like the guy from New York, which I didn't realize is actually a thing. But yeah, this makes absolutely zero sense to me. Who's going to win? Eddie Kingston's going to win. This is his return match. Of course he's going to win. This would probably be one of the biggest shock results of the year if Big Bill gets a win over Eddie Kingston here. It's so predictable, and yeah, this whole thing just doesn't make any sense to me, in my opinion. After that, we have Mercedes Moné defending the TBS Championship against Riho. And yeah, this is the time of year again, or kind of not time of year again, just time and space within AEW where either Shida or Riho come back to face a current champion that they haven't faced before, and they're just straight away inserted into a title match. They will lose the title match and then disappear again. Unfortunately, Moné has already faced Shida. She faced her at last year's All Out, so you wouldn't do that again. So they brought in Riho instead. And yeah, it's just one of those things. It wouldn't surprise me if at some point Nyla Rose comes in and she faces Mercedes Moné, if they haven't done it already, because this reign has been incredibly long. So it wouldn't surprise me if Nyla Rose came in at some point. But yeah, for me, this is zero threat to a championship reign here, and it's nothing to do with the size of Riho, nothing to do with the quality of Riho. I like Riho. It's just a case of AEW do this for nearly every championship reign. They did it with Toni Storm. I think it was within her first reign. I believe it was last year's World's End where she faced Riho. So again, it's just one of those things where they bring, as I said, either Shida or Riho in. They get a title match. They put them over, they put the champion over, and then they go away again. And I feel like it's going to be the same thing here again. So, yeah, for me, 100%, no doubt in my mind, Mercedes Moné gets the win here. Following that, and look, I get it, this might be sacrilege. I don't give a crap about this match at all. So, we have Adam Copeland, or Cope, versus Christian Cage. No, not versus Christian Cage. Adam Copeland, Cope, and Christian Cage versus FTR in what's supposed to be the biggest tag team match to ever tag team match in the world of tag team matches. I've even heard people suggest this might go on last, which I would hate. Like, let's go remember, last time Adam Copeland main evented a pay-per-view, it was trash, if you think back to Revolution. Yeah, it's a match I didn't really care about it. I think they've ruined Christian in the case of turning him heel and turning him face, and I know the case that like he's still kind of acting a bit heel, but no, it's just like, it doesn't fit. For me, the Copeland Cage thing doesn't work. They forgave each other way too quickly. This should have been drawn out for much, much longer, but I get why they're doing it here. As far as the winner goes, look, FTR should win this match. They should, because the older tag team should put over the present tag team. Very simple. Unless we're doing Bound for Glory, then it's up in the air. But no, for me, it should be FTR. But it's not going to be FTR. It's going to be Cage and Copeland, unfortunately. And yeah, it's not a case of like, oh, I'm only saying this because I hate Copeland. It's because I just like, it's a tag team reunion I wasn't asking for. I wasn't asking for Cage and Chris. Yeah, my God, I can never get this right. Cage and Copeland to come back together. I wasn't bothered for it. I wasn't caring for it. I just wanted to see Christian wrestle more as a heel because he is so good as a heel. But instead we got this crap instead. And yeah, as I said, FTR should be winning, and I want to sit here and say that they are winning, but they're probably not. And my prediction is Adam Copeland and Christian Cage are going to get a win here, and they're probably going to make them tag team champions as well, which I'm really even more against, because they shouldn't be winning the tag team championships. I don't feel like they need it, but it is what it is. It's just something I have no interest in at all, and like, I get the significance of it, it's just not for me. Following that, we have the Hurt Syndicate, so MVP, Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin, taking on Ricochet and GOA, as they're known now, also known as the Gates of Agony. And for me, this is, again, I'm going to go with a bit of my heart over head with this one. And as much as I love the Hurt Syndicate, and I don't get how you can't like the Hurt Syndicate, they are such a good team, and they are just, everything about this fits perfectly together. I think they're taking a loss here. And it's basically because of stuff that I heard online. Oh, I know. But if the Hurt Syndicate were willing to lose the tag team titles to Gates of Agony, then I can't see a reason why they can't put over Ricochet and the Gates of Agony over at the same time. And yeah, for me, that's what I'm going to go for. I'm going to go with Ricochet and the Gates of Agony to get the win here. I know that would mean like back-to-back losses as a team for the Hurt Syndicate, but I feel like they can very easily recover from that. And yeah, it would massively help them, and it would, them as in Ricochet and GOA, it would help establish them as a team. And yeah, all the benefits here are for Ricochet and GOA. Ricochet needs to start getting some big wins on the card as well, just because it's been a while since he's kind of been into a main storyline like he is here. And yeah, I want to see Ricochet, especially this version of Ricochet, which is absolutely fantastic. And I love what Ricochet's been doing in AEW. I want to see this succeed and get to a place where they all get gold, whether it's trios gold, whether it's tag team or singles. Either way, I want to see this succeed. So yeah, and I feel like it starts here with a win over the Hurt Syndicate. But also, it wouldn't shock me if the Hurt Syndicate won either. They also need a win, as I said, they're coming off their loss at Forbidden Door. But yeah, it just makes the most sense to give Ricochet and Gates of Agony the win. Following that, we have the Unified Championship 3-way match, even though it should be a singles match, but instead it's a not a trio match, a 3-way match, because Lucha. I have no idea why Masquerada Dorada is in this match. It absolutely should be Okada versus Takeshita. Whether they are saving that for a future date, whether it's going to be for a bigger championship. I know the Unified Championship is essentially 2 titles, but I'm thinking more World Championship, having Okada versus Takeshita one-on-one. But yeah, no, it's a match I've been wanting all year, which is Okada versus Takeshita. Very interesting that they're both in the Don Callis family, but it's been very clear for many, many years now that Don Callis family members are willing to fight each other. Don Callis actually, he encourages them to face each other. You know, we saw the same with Takeshita and Ospreay at Revolution last year, 2024, I believe. So yeah, it doesn't surprise me that having Callis family members face each other, that's not an issue for me. I don't think it's going to play a part in my prediction. So for me, Dorada is in this match to take a pin, right? Right. Yeah, totally. Sure. Yeah. They're not going to have Okada and Takeshita take a pin when Dorada's there. Surely. Which suggests to me that Takeshita's going to get the win, which then causes friction within the Don Callis family, and then Okada leaves. Which I know he's not been in for very long, and that kind of doesn't make sense, but Takeshita is the OG Don Callis family member. He's the guy the group is built around, even though it feels a bit like Fletcher at the minute. The Don Callis family is built around Takeshita. So for me, I'm going to go out on a limb. And though I can very much see it being Okada, I think Takeshita is going to become the new Unified Champion. And then I'm going to be curious about what they do with the International and Continental Championships. Because does Okada keep those titles, or does Takeshita win them because they have come together? And then what happens with the Continental Classic? Can't wait till the Continental Classic. Mainly because I'm going to go watch some of the Continental Classic because they come into Manchester, England in December during the Continental Classic. But I do want to see the International Championship and Continental Championships defended separately. And we haven't seen that at all since they've been brought in the Unified Championship. So let's see how it goes. But for me, as I said, my prediction here is Takeshita gets the win because Dorada is in the match. And he'll take the pin. So then Okada can lose the belt without being pinned. Simple. Well, very confusing why this can't just be a singles match, because the singles match would be fucking awesome. Following that, we have the Tables and Tacks, the TNT match, between Mark Briscoe taking on MJF in a very personal feud, very massive grudge match, and a match I am very much looking forward to. Very interesting that MJF is wrestling in CMML 24 hours before, well, it'll be less than 24 hours because it's on early. So, yeah, for me, where does this go? This is going to be a very, very bloody match. I can imagine this is going to go on very early because there's a match later on that's going to be very bloody as well. But who do I think is going to win? Look, I get the whole babyface thing. Mark Briscoe getting the win over the top heel MJF would be huge for him. I don't have that much investment in Mark Briscoe. So for me, this is 100% since this whole feud started, MJF is winning this one. He is going to do something awful to Mark Briscoe. It's probably going to be this awful table spot with lots and lots of attacks. It's going to be grim to watch. People are not going to like it. It's going to get memed. It's going to be Mark Briscoe pissing blood for days because that's what he loves to do. But yeah, again, but everything about this screams my style of match. So I literally cannot wait for this one. I feel it's going to be absolutely fantastic. But yeah, for me, just keep this one a bit shorter because the rest of them are pretty long. It's MJF to get the win. After that, we have a Fatal 4-Way Tag Team Ladder match for the World Tag Team Championships where we have Jet Speed, so Speedball Mike Bailey and Kevin Knight taking on Hechicero and Josh Alexander, representing the Don Callis family, the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson, and the champions, defending champions, Brody King and Bandido. And for me, this is kind of a process of elimination, which it always is with these kind of matches. Are Jet Speed going to win? No, they're not. I don't think they're going to win at all. Are the Don Callis family going to win? No, because this isn't the tag team of the Don Callis family. I get that any of them can tag at any point. For me, the tag team of the Don Callis family is Archer and Alexander, or if available, Archer and Cage. So yeah, I can't see it being them. The Bucks are always a possibility because they're the Young Bucks. Of course they're a possibility. Especially with the case of them going from like bum-ass Bucks to happy Bucks because they won all that money to champion Bucks. It kind of makes a lot of sense. And I've kind of thought for a while that the tag team division kind of needs to get reset a little bit. I think exactly the same about stuff in WWE. And putting the titles back on the Bucks would be a good way to do that. And then they can build the tag team division back up again to a point where it should be. And then we can do the Bucks versus Edge and Christian, which is another dream tag team match that no one asked for in 2025. And then you got Bandido, Brody King and Bandido. They could fully retain here, but I can't help but see them as kind of two singles guys, or Bandido, a singles guy, and Brody King, half of a different tag team, but I don't know where Buddy is. I assume he's just injured, but I don't know how long he's out for, which is a massive shame, because it kind of feels like this should be the Hellhounds, not Bandido. But as far as predictions go, this one's really tough, because I can generally see them keeping the titles on Bandido until a certain time, but with the threat of Edge and Christian on the horizon for the tag team championships, I'm going to go with the Bucks to win the tag team titles again, and then Cage and Cope can take the titles from them in maybe at the next pay-per-view, Wrestle Dream, which is also marked like 2 years since Copeland came back and all that kind of stuff, and Christian Cage main eventing and all that kind of stuff. Copeland and Christian have good connections. Wrestle Dream, have them face the Bucks at that event for the tag team titles kind of makes a lot of sense to me right now. So as much as I don't want it personally, and as much as I think people would hate it, I think the Bucks are winning the tag team titles again. Following that, we have a 4-way match for the Women's World Championship. We have Thekla versus Kris Statlander versus Jamie Hayter versus Toni Storm, who is defending, obviously. Now, I may ramble and I may yap here, and I might chat a load of bollocks. I might have some really good points here. It kind of is a perception, of, well, your perception of what you think I'm saying, so bear with me. So, Thekla, is she going to win? No. Basically because I don't think she's ready yet. I feel like she is a future world champion, absolutely. She's so good, but not quite yet. I feel like there is plenty of time for Thekla to win the world championship. I don't think it's here. Right, get the simple one out of the way first. Jamie Hayter and Kris Statlander, I feel like are in the same boat here. So both of them haven't challenged for the world championship in a long time. Jamie Hayter's like one of the most recent former champions as well. And do I feel like she's going to win the title here? No, not really. But she could, obviously. She's in the match. But in a way of, it kind of depends on the Death Riders. This is what I'm getting to, and I want to concentrate on the Death Riders to Statlander. I made a whole video on it. Go check it out on the channel. It's very, very good. But it wouldn't shock me here, and I was thinking about this the other day, and it kind of makes sense in a way. What if it seems like Statlander's going to join the Death Riders, and they help her get the win, and Jamie Hayter joins the Death Riders instead? Like, imagine how mental that would be. Like, no one would see that coming. I feel like I would be a certain level of genius if I've seen this coming. But it kind of, in my head, I'm just kind of feeling like this might happen. I might be completely wrong. But yeah, it kind of depends. If the Death Riders get involved and they help someone win, I think it's Hayter or Statlander. Speaking of Statlander, we'll come back to Statlander, actually. Toni Storm. I mean, it's Toni Storm. Of course she could win. Like, she is Mrs. AEW at this point, and yeah, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if she did get retained here. I just struggle to think who she would face going forward if she did win here, because you've essentially got the three biggest contenders right now going against her all at the same time. If Toni Storm gets the win here, I would have argued the fact that they should have faced her individually over the next 3 pay-per-views that would have taken her probably to the end of the month, having like Thekla challenge her here, Jamie Hayter at Wrestle Dream, and then Statlander at Full Gear. But instead they're doing it all at once, which makes me feel like she might lose the title here. I feel like this is the most jeopardy this title has faced in a very, very long time. Actually, that's not true. I thought Mercedes was going to win, but then she didn't, because maybe she doesn't have creative control. But she probably does. But yeah, no, I feel like Toni Storm is losing here. I do. I can't believe I'm actually saying this, but I feel like she's losing to Kris Statlander. Because not only is she well overdue a world title run by a country mile, the fact that she said on Dynamite that she hasn't challenged for the world title in 4 years, which is true. Last time she challenged for it was Chris versus Baker at All Out 2021, and it was a great match, and I love that match. And I feel like she gets the win here because of the Death Riders, because she's going to join the Death Riders, and they're going to help her get the win, and it's going to be great. I also feel like for some reason Britt Baker might play a part in this, that she might come out and cost Jimmy Hayter, even though she's not involved with AEW stuff right now. I feel like that might be a little bit of a work, and Baker versus Hayter would be really cool, and there's a way to introduce her into this match and cost Jimmy Hayter. That would be really cool, but I just thought I'd mention that. But yeah, for me, I'm going to go out on a limb, and yeah, it always feels like one of those things where you just back Tony, because of course you do. But I'm not. I'm going to say that Kris Statlander is going to walk out of All Out, the new Women's World Champion, and the newest member of the Death Riders, and we're finally going to get the side of Statlander where she just kills people for a living, and it's going to be awesome, and I'm going to love it, and it's going to just be the greatest thing on TV, and yeah, and maybe I'm a little bit too invested in this, maybe my head is too much in it, but I am fully backing, on the record, Kris Statlander is your new Women's World Champion by the end of this weekend. After this, we have the AEW World Championship match where TNT champion Kyle Fletcher takes on World Champion Hangman Adam Page for the world title. And yeah, big stipulation added into this one, which is really intriguing, and they never do this, and I'm very excited with the fact they've actually done it, which is if any member of the Don Callis family get involved in this match in any kind of way, Fletcher is stripped to the TNT title, which is huge, because it doesn't mean that the match will suddenly end. It doesn't mean that the match is in any kind of jeopardy. It just means that Fletcher has more to lose here than he originally thought, which is great. And it's going to work, as far as like the story of the match goes, it's going to work really well. Hopefully Don Callis can still be on commentary, because he is very integral to commentary, and I love having him on commentary. And if it was up to me, I'd have Don Callis on commentary like all the time, like Danielson. But you know, it means that he won't interfere as much, especially if the commentary table not at ringside, which is kind of one thing they do a lot more nowadays. Anyway, the match itself, this is going to be such a good match. This is really going to be the continued coming out party of Kyle Fletcher. We had the matches with Ospreay that were awesome. This is only going to see him continue just have absolutely awesome matches. But it goes without saying, very, very unfortunate for Wardlow, who apparently was supposed to be in Kyle Fletcher's position. Kyle Fletcher kind of got put in this position because Wardlow got injured again, and yeah, Wardlow was supposed to be challenging, and it's so annoying because Wardlow vs Sandman would have been so good. And Wardlow is, again, one of those people that kind of you associate with becoming a future world champion. Do I think he would have done it here? No. Do I think Kyle Fletcher's going to do it here? No. But it would have been a great match either way. But yeah, Hangman is totally winning this match. I can't see them making Kyle Fletcher a double champion. It would be awesome if they did, though. Like, it would really show some real intent within AEW that they're going to invest in Kyle Fletcher into the future, and he will be like the person that WWE surround their men's main event scene around at some point within the next 5 years, I think. But I don't think it's going to happen for him here. But I think this is going to be more about match quality than it will be about title jeopardy. And yeah, it's a match I'm very much looking forward to. I feel like they're going to go out there and kill it. But yeah, for me, Hangman is 100% retaining here. But I'm very curious to see who he faces next, as there is not a lot of world title contenders for him right now in AEW. So whenever we get past the pay-per-view, I look forward to seeing who he's going to face next. And finally, in the match I think is going on last, because I feel like it's going to be like the most entertaining match of them all. I think it's going to be probably one of the better matches on the card, and I feel like it's got the most story going into it as well. I mean, I know that there's a lot going into Hangman and Fletcher. I know there's a lot going into the women. I know there's a lot going into Cage and Copeland versus FTR. But this has big implications for it, and I feel like this is also going to be one of those matches where every person under the bloody sun is going to get involved here. And if Eddie Kingston doesn't get involved here, then it's ridiculous. But we'll get to that. So as far as like the match goes, I feel like this is going to be a just absolutely ridiculous affair. Why do I think that? Because of last night's Dynamite. The fact that Darby Allin specifically told Bryan Danielson not to get involved means that they are going to do absolutely diabolical stuff to each other. And yeah, I mean, I love it. It's my kind of thing. As you guys all know, I love the extreme stuff. So the fact that I kind of know we're going to get it here is awesome, and I genuinely cannot wait. As far as the winner goes, this is really difficult because I can see Moxley cheating his way, using the numbers advantage, getting all the Death Riders involved. I feel like there's a reason why Daniel Garcia is the only member of the Death Riders who is not on the card. And even then, he's on the pre-show, which means that he's going to be fully fit and ready for when this match goes on, which I can imagine will be really, really late. So, it means that all the Death Riders will be clear, ready to go at whenever Moxley kind of gets him, if not at the beginning, and Darby just gets assaulted at the start of the match. And then, obviously, there's the case of Gabe Kidd possibly getting involved, maybe the Young Bucks get involved as well, you know, as a kind of, we as the Death Riders decided that you could keep all that money. In return, we need you to get involved in our stuff when we need you, kind of dealio, maybe. That isn't confirmed, that's just speculation from me. But then for Darby Allin, you've got Hook who can get involved. The Ops will, of course, get involved. Do we see Orange Cassidy? Maybe. I don't know how injured he is right now, but there's other people you can get involved. Maybe we see the return of Jay White. I feel like, no, he's out for the rest of the year, so it won't be Jay White. Forget Jay White. I didn't say Jay White. I said somebody else. But no, you say Darby Allin's going to get a load of people behind him because it's Darby Allin. Sting's going to show up because it's Sting. So yeah, you know, this is going to be one of those things where there's going to be a ton of interference. Who's going to win? I really don't know. It's obvious, like for me, it's very obviously going to be Darby. But then I feel like Darby, if I remember correctly, Darby has lost only one coffin match, and it was the one at All In where he lost to Jack Perry. So for me, to continue this story on, it's got to be Moxley. But I feel like okay, scratch all that. I've just decided in my brain right now, Jon Moxley's winning this match because they're going to want to extend this out even longer until we get the kind of overwhelming match that will see the death of the Death Riders. Whether they do some kind of blood and guts match, whether they do Texas Death or something like that. But whatever they do here, they're probably going to top and do something worse at a future date. So, yeah, for me, I want to go with Moxley to get the win here, but it's not going to be anywhere near the end of the feud because I feel like Darby is an integral point of getting rid of the Death Riders. It's just not going to happen All Out. So, yeah, I want to just make sure, I know I've said a lot of stuff there, I have Jon Moxley to get the win here. So those are my predictions for AEW All Out 2025. I do apologise if this has gone a bit long. It feels like I did kind of ramble at points, but it's a show I'm very much looking forward to, and I feel like there's a lot of variables for a lot of different matches, which is really cool. You know, as a feeling going into the pay-per-view, it's one, and I'd probably say I'm looking forward to All Out just as much as I am WrestlePalooza. So, yeah, I mean, I feel like it's going to be a really, really good show, one of the strongest shows of the year. So, yeah, as I said, I do apologise if this has gone a little bit longer than usual for predictions, as well as there being just a lot of matches in general. But yeah, do put in the comments below what you think is going to happen at All Out. I'm very curious to see everyone's opinions on All Out, what's going to happen throughout the whole card, from the tag team matches to the title matches to the main, what do you think the main event's going to be? Because honestly, I have no idea, nothing really stands out, and the world title match doesn't stand alone as a main event in my opinion, so it really could be anything. And also, what kind of shenanigans do you think is going to go down in the MJF and Briscoe and the Moxley and Darby Allin match as well? So yeah, a lot to talk about, which we can do in the comments down below. And I do encourage you, especially for this one, to comment below, as I look forward to seeing what everyone has to say. But yeah, do like the video if you enjoyed it. Do subscribe. There is a lot of coverage, obviously coverage of WrestlePalooza All Out this week. There is No Mercy and Victory Road next week for TNA and NXT. So do stick around for those as well as a loads of different fun stuff as well. Tomorrow there's going to be my top 10 matches from All Out of the past, so do stick around for that as well. And my top 10 matches from WWE/NXT No Mercy coming next week as well. So yeah, lots of stuff coming up on the channel, so do stick around for all that. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.